You know Seiko is the global powerhouse that makes reliable, affordable, good-looking watches. And if you thought that, you wouldn't be wrong. But that's not the whole story. It's not even the interesting part. Behind the facade of affordable reliability, there is another Seiko, one of obsessive experiments of backroom projects of watches so rare they're only known to the most dedicated collectors. This is a deep dive into the 5 rarest Seikos ever made. In 1964, Tokyo was getting ready to host its first Olympics. This edition was special. It was far more than just a sporting event. It was a national project to reintroduce Japan to the war after the war. For the very first time, the games were to be broadcast live via satellite, giving Japan the opportunity to awe over 800 million viewers worldwide. Seiko was named the official timekeeper of the event, putting the company's reputation, and by extension, Japan's, on the line. While Seiko publicly produced around 1,300 timers for the event and released 2 Olympics-related watches for public sale, they also almost secretly created something far more special for this occasion. The Seiko Count Graph reference 5718-8000. This was not a watch for the masses. It was sold only within the confines of the Olympic Village for the 15-day duration of the Games. Its price, a staggering 38,000 yen, a figure that eclipsed nearly every other luxury watch of the era. The count graph is defined by its unique complication, a 2-digit mechanical counter at 12 o'clock, operated by 2 pushers on the left side of the case. This feature, designed to be used as a lap counter, is the only one of its kind in Seiko's history. The movement was a modification of Seiko's first chronograph caliber that had just been launched for the Olympics, the 5719, with the counter complication added specifically for this model. The very limited nature of its sale ensured its rarity, with an estimated production of only 100 units across both the silver and grey dial options. The caseback is engraved with the iconic 1964 Tokyo Olympic torch, forever tying this watch to its historic legacy. Today, the count graph is widely considered the Seiko Grail, with prices going from $50,000 to $100,000. Owning it means having a tangible piece of Japan's triumphant return to the world stage in your collection. In the early 1960s, Swiss dominance over the watch industry was undisputed, and nowhere was this more evident than at the Neuchâtel Observatory trials. These were the ultimate tests of accuracy, a battleground for specially prepared, non-production movements from the very best brands. When Seiko first competed in 1964, the result was a humiliation. Their best movement finished at dismal 144th place, failing to even qualify as a chronometer. A humbling result, perhaps brought about by the logistical challenges of flying such delicate movements all the way from Japan. What followed was a period of obsessive, relentless research. Seiko's engineers focused on developing better movements to gain greater stability and precision. By 1968, Seiko achieved a result that sent shockwaves through the industry. Their mechanical movements swept every place from 4th to 10th, setting an all-time record score for mechanical wristwatches. The only movements that beat them were 3 experimental quartz prototypes from a Swiss consortium. The Swiss establishment was stunned. They had been beaten at their own game. Shortly thereafter, for a number of reasons that we won't speculate about right now, the competition was suspended indefinitely. So Seiko decided to take proof of their victory to the public. In 1968, they submitted 103 of their new production caliber 4520A high-beat movements to the Neuchâtel Observatory, not for competition, but for official chronometer certification. 73 of them passed the punishing 45-day trial. Seiko then placed this in a beautiful 18K yellow gold texture case and sold them as the Seiko Astronomical Observatory Chronometer, complete with the official Neuchâtel certification. It was a wearable trophy, a beautifully crafted, solid gold crown to Seiko's name. Over the next 2 years, more movements were certified, bringing the total run to 226 examples. However, it's likely many of these have been melted over the years for gold value, so the surviving number remains unknown. At its launch, the Seiko Astronomica was priced at 6 times the cost of standard Grand Seikos, a clear statement of its importance. Today, a good example can command prices upwards of $70,000. But that's the price you have to pay to own the Japanese watch that beat the Swiss. Back in 1968, Seiko proved its prowess to the world by besting the Swiss with the Seiko Astronomica, but the brand decided to go an extra length to prove it to themselves. By the late 1960s, Grand Seiko had established its own accuracy standard, which was far stricter than the Swiss cost benchmark. But for Seiko's management, this wasn't good enough, so they created an even more demanding tier of performance, VFA, Very Fine Adjusted. This required a watch to perform within a mind-boggling mean daily rate of plus-minus 2 seconds per day, the absolute best of what was thought possible for a serially produced mechanical wristwatch at the time. This obsession with internal perfection led to the creation of the Grand Seiko 4580-7000, one of the first VFA models. It first appeared in the 1970 Special Luxury Catalog, a publication reserved only for Seiko's most exclusive pieces. This watch represents a fascinating moment when the internal drive for engineering excellence was pushed to its extreme. But it is also notable for something else. By this time, Seiko had developed its famous grammar of design, originally known as Seiko style, a set of design rules that emphasize broad, flat, mirror-polished surfaces and sharp angles. The 4587,000 almost completely ignored these rules. It features a unique geometric tonneau-shaped case in stainless steel, a design never used on any other Seiko or Grand Seiko model before or since. Powered by the hand-wound high-bit caliber 4580A, a direct descendant of the movements that had conquered the aforementioned Swiss trials, this watch was produced only for 3 years, and it was incredibly expensive. Fewer than 100 examples are believed to have been made. With only 12 publicly accounted for by collectors, their value is currently estimated to be in the region of $50,000. Its incredible rarity, combined with its one-of-a-kind design, make this watch in many ways the most unique Seiko ever made. In 1960, Seiko decided to create Grand Seiko. The mission, set by founder Kintaro Hattori, was to create the ideal watch, a perfect, harmonious balance of precision, durability, and beauty. This philosophy was the culmination of decades of work, building on precursor models like the Seiko Lord Malvar and Seiko Crown throughout the 1950s. The result was the Grand Seiko First, reference J14070, powered by the caliber 3180. It was a landmark achievement, the first watch made in Japan to be compliant with Swiss chronometer standards. The regular version was cased in a thick 80-micron layer of 14K gold, but for a very select few, a different version was created, one made in solid platinum. It was the purest physical form of Seiko's ideal watch, the ultimate statement of quality, beauty, and permanence. But all of this was available at a cost that was, for the time, almost beyond reason. The Platinum Grand Seiko First was then priced at 140,000 yen. For reference, that would have been over 10 times the starting salary of a high-ranking Japanese public servant in 1960. More importantly, the Platinum First never appeared in any Seiko catalog. Its existence was only a whisper, confirmed by the company but never advertised. Sort of an off-menu item produced in incredibly small quantities only for Japan's elites. So, how many were made? We don't really know, but most likely less than 50. Getting one even today is almost impossible. If you did manage to find it, it will likely set you back somewhere between $25,000 to $40,000. But the Platinum Grand Seiko First was never about commercial success. It was the ultimate expression of the ideal watch, a quiet masterpiece understood by the very few who could ever hope to own it. This one is by far the rarest Seiko ever made. It was not even made to be sold. It never appeared in any catalog. It was not intended for citizens. I'm talking about the Seiko Imperial, not a watch as much as an instrument of statecraft. Commissioned in the 1970s by Emperor Hirohito, this elusive model was created to be bestowed as a gift to foreign dignitaries and other esteemed individuals. This happened during a pivotal moment in Japan's history, as the nation was re-establishing its diplomatic and economic ties with the world after the war. One known example is believed to have been presented to someone who had assisted the emperor during his historic state visit to Europe in 1971. At its heart, the Seiko Imperial is a VFA of the highest order, using the same legendary, hyper-accurate caliber 4580. But the differences are profound and speak volumes about power and identity. The familiar Grand Seiko logo is gone, replaced with the Kikuka Monsho, the 16 petals imperial seal of Japan, a golden chrysanthemum with over 800 years of history. The crown is completely blank, a subtle signifier of its bespoke, non-commercial purpose. Most tellingly, the caseback is engraved not with the usual Seiko Japan, but with Nippon Seiko. This is another powerful distinction, an act of removing old standard company marks, a privilege only the emperor could command. The Seiko Imperial is the very definition of a unicorn. Its production numbers are completely unknown. Even the Seiko Museum in Ginza has no official record of how many were made, but so far 3 have been found. Its value is derived not just from its VFA movement, which alone would make it incredibly precious, but from its unparalleled provenance and rarity. If an example were to appear at auction, a conservative estimate would be in the $120,000 to $200,000 range, a small price to be paid for a watch made for the Emperor of Japan. So there you have it, the 5 rarest Seikos ever made. 5 watches representing far more than just horology. These are artifacts from pivotal moments in Japan's and Seiko's history that demonstrate the brand's capacity for world-class engineering and their obsessive hunt for perfection. They're a testament to a side of Seiko that stands in stark contrast with their mainstream image today. They show that behind its reputation for value and reliability, there is a long history of making some of the best and most important watches in the world. Like and subscribe for more watch hunts and guides.